Good morning, everyone. Welcome inside the Faith Loop. Glad you joined us again today. My mouth quit working there again today. I've had some trouble with some wording today, right? I washed my mouth, brushed my teeth, can't do nothing with it.
Nope.
Oh, man. But, hey, we're back today. We're going to look at some more headlines and talk about some things and have some fun. You know, and I think that everybody is asking this question, and this is what I'm hearing across all party lines. We're listening. Because honestly, folks, I'm this person. I go and listen to MSNBC and CNN and see what these folks are saying, and everybody, it's so funny. Everybody's going, they're lying, they're lying, they're lying, they're lying. No, they're lying. Who's telling the truth?
Whoever you believe, I guess.
I guess. And I think that's what it goes to. I'll be honest, I don't believe any of them. There's very few, I think, I guess you would call conservative outlets, I believe too much. I mean, who's doing honest work, who's talking, who's telling you anything up front. And I know that sounds strange. People go, well, who do you believe? Well, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe in Jesus Christ. That's about it. I believe in the truth of the gospel. The rest of the things that men do is pretty suspect, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that I just poo-poo everything and nobody's telling the truth or whatnot. But I think we have to be very careful with what's being said. For instance, this morning, my wife had a video sent to her with Obama saying all kinds of inflammatory things. You know, and I think I've seen this video before. You know, most of the population is small-minded and need to be governed, and they don't know how to govern themselves and whatnot. And I'm like, it's edited together to make it sound in this fashion. And this is what I mean. And I told my wife, I said, I don't believe any of that. Did he say those words out of his mouth? Yes. What context? Did he say before that, you know, I don't believe that people are like this? Did he say it that way? And I think I've seen this one circulate before. And again, see, I don't put much stock into that, because then you have the one side doing the same things as the other side, right?
Yeah, before the election, there was, I don't know how many things I got on Messenger that Trump was going to give a big speech tonight, and he was going to do this, and I looked at the schedules, and there wasn't anything there.
Right.
This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Oh man, don't worry about it, because we've taken care of it, and it's all. Yeah. And it was all a bunch of baloney. I mean, what? You know, where do these people come up with this stuff? You know, just lie, just outright, flat out lie.
Yeah.
And whether it's conservative or a liberal, it doesn't matter. Some of these conservatives are pretty wild too. I mean, I think there are some conservative outlets that try to tell the truth as far as their side and so forth, and they report it as it is and stuff. But don't edit something together and make somebody out to be something they're not.
Folks, if you like what we're doing, please take a moment, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. We're on Facebook, Justin. I went my YouTube fashion there, right? Rumble. Also, folks, I know we're on Facebook, but we're also, as you can see here, we're on Parler. We're trying to move people more towards Parler, and if you don't have a Parler account, get one. We're posting on Parler consistently, so take a few minutes, go to Parler, get yourself set up, start watching what we're doing over there. We want to try and we don't get blocked as much. We'll just say that, as simple as it gets. But if you like what we're doing here, please hit the share button. Share it out with your friends. Share it out to your friends, with your friends. Like it. Make sure you hit the like button, because the likes help us. The shares help us. The comments help everything in what we're doing, because regardless, I know we're on Facebook, but they try. I mean, we've noticed a huge dip in our reach over the last 8-9 months. I mean, we were doing pretty well, and it's all, so we have to do as much as we can to stay pushing the reach, sharing it with your friends, get this out. We appreciate your help. That being said, we're going to come back to some of these things. It's funny too, Dad. Here's the thing. We talk about China, our mortal enemies and stuff, and Russia and things like this. And I watch certain things and pay attention to certain news. And so I looked it up. You do research. I got 5, 6, 7 articles here that, China in 2020 had about 192,000 acres of U.S. farmland. They owned it. Now China, another deal comes up here. They have 30 million acres. Or it says foreign countries own 30 million acres. And this was in 2017, I believe, and it was controlled. 146,000 acres were controlled by China at that time. So as you can see, it's growing. And at 2019 was the last one we saw at 91. Then 2020, 192. So you're looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, how is China? And Fox News was reporting this as well. You had Silver Doctors, Technocracy.news, military, the American Military News reported this. So these aren't just silly outlets. Mm-hmm. How does China own any of our farmland? I mean, to me, these are things, we sit around and we talk about, China's terrible, we hate China and it's our enemy and whatnot. Then why are we selling land in the United States to China?
Yep. So
what is truth? And what are we talking about here? To me, that just screams, I wouldn't have never thought. And honestly, up until this time, I wouldn't have never. China recently bought the largest meat packing company in the United States. And one of the largest in the world. They're owned by they bought them. It cracks me up when we start talking about these types of things, and we see enemy, they're our enemy, they're this and whatnot. And all these corporate entities, all these they're multinational companies, folks, are held in these different forms of companies in China and this, here, and there. You don't even know who owns it anymore.
No. I've done a lot of work in Mexico, as you know, and and Brian's been with me there on many occasions. And one of the things that I learned, I was in a church in Mexico City, and the secretary of that church, she was just a great gal, and she worked for the National Bank of Mexico. She was a liaison officer between people in the United States or any other country that wanted to buy property or business in Mexico.
It's Flor, right?
Flor Cardona.
Yeah.
And Flor told me, she said that the reason she has to be there is because any foreign entity that buys property in Mexico only owns 49%. They must have a Mexican partner, and they own 51%. They will not allow any foreign government, person, or anybody else to own more than 49%. So it's still controlled by Mexico.
Right.
Well, here we are. I mean, get caught for, being illegal in Mexico, an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
And watch what happens.
Right.
They don't mess around.
No.
And so, we're the only country in the world, it seems like to me, that operates the way we do.
Right.
With no idea of any kind of self-preservation or anything. I mean, we just give it away and then turn around and cry when we see it go bad.
And you see on the screen there, folks, that's the thing. Everybody sits around. I think this is where the people are sit around in terror. They're troubled in their minds. This is what we always talk about. We're troubled. There's no real settled feeling of anything. Everybody is tense all the time. And this is the trouble we have, even within the congregation of the saints. Don't let your heart be troubled. Isn't that what Jesus said?
Yep.
I am with you always, even until the end of the age. We are going to face some things. I know it, but that doesn't mean I need to be troubled by these things. We don't know. Honestly, we don't know who's telling the truth. I don't care what you say on either side, because you look at this. Biden, last night, I watched a lot of the stuff with Mr. Biden and his speech and whatnot, which I'm just like, okay, whatever, dude. I gotta say nothing else. Isn't that what it said? If you ain't got nothing to say, don't say nothing at all. Biden says U.S. committed to safe passage for the last 100 to 200 Americans left in Afghanistan. They were saying it. They only the last ones. Maybe they didn't want to get out, because that's what they kept saying. Only those who want to get out, will get out. We'll get those who want to get out. They kept saying that, and this is, and I think most people like us feel like we sit and we watch this stuff and nobody hears what we have to say, right? We do have to stand up, and people do hear what we say. The problem is we don't say it in the general. If you can't say it in the face of somebody that you're standing next to in the midst of things, when there is disagreement, I don't believe in agreeing to disagree. And I know people go, oh, then that means you're just mean. No, I just don't agree. I'm not mad. I don't want to shoot you. There's nothing there. There's no animosity. I just don't agree. And I'm not going to agree to say, well, then you do whatever you want, because sometimes those people have nefarious situations. And we've agreed to disagree for so long that we don't know which way's up.
Well, it gets ridiculous because we never take things out to the degree where it actually sounds really, really stupid. But if we do that, then we understand that it's all stupid. For instance, you're standing there with a serial killer, and he says, I believe in killing people. I just believe in killing everybody I can kill. Do you agree? No. Well, let's agree to disagree then. In other words, it's okay, go ahead and kill people. That's all right. I agree. We'll disagree, but I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to get upset over it or anything like that. See how stupid that is? That's just absolute imbecile. It's just take an imbecile to think that way. And yet, well, yeah, but that's not what we're saying. Yeah, it is. I mean, it doesn't matter to what level you're going to. Here's somebody, for instance, that believes in oppressing mankind. Everything they do is oppressive toward people. They believe in just taking all their money away from them. They believe in put them in poverty and everything like that. Well, we can agree to disagree. Oh, so you're going to agree that it's okay for them to do that?
It's just not me.
But it's just, I wouldn't do it. Well, no, but you're going to be a part of it because it's going to be done to you. I mean, it's just absolutely asinine.
But you say something, this is the problem. We say things in language. Language cultivates society, folks. This is why I talk about language and culture.
Words mean things.
Why do we use the term cult? Oh, they're a cult. And by the way, Anita, thanks for shouting that out. She posted here in the comments. She said that China's been buying farms in Oklahoma. It's crazy, man. The idea, I lost my
culture.
Culture, there it is. We use the word cult. If you say you're part of a cult, that's bad. But if you're a part of a culture, that's okay. Do you know what? It's the same thing. Hello. I don't,
Same word.
it's just beyond me how people don't understand this. They're doing the same thing, but a cult now is, some fringe element of a culture that's different, that's whacked out, and we call those a cult. No, sorry, Dad.
They've just created their own culture.
Exactly. And they use words to do it, just like everybody else. We have to it's the fact between truth and fiction. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, everything that's going on the planet right now with man is fiction. It's fiction. How can you say that, Brian? I mean, these things are happening. People are dying. It's real. Yeah, I know. I know that. Still fiction. See, how do you say that and get people to understand something? Every God the truth and every man a liar. What does that mean? See, we read those things and we go, oh yeah, see. But yet we're going out and voting for these people, making and saying they're telling us the truth and they're going to fix this.
What have they fixed?
I'm just saying. This is the trouble I have with this stuff, Dad.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've been here several years now, and every election I've been through, and I've been through many since I was old enough to understand it, from Eisenhower and Truman and Eisenhower till now. And so I've been through a few, and they all promise this, promise that, promise something else, promise. And then the next election comes along, and the opposition stands up and says they broke it all. It's all a mess. We're going to fix it. And then the next election, who opposes them says, we're going to fix it. You broke it all. We're going to fix it. So, it's just the same old scenario. I mean, it's never, hey, that guy did a good job, and we think we can do a good job. If you like us, vote for us, But no, it's not that way. They call each other everything but human beings.
Exactly. And then we're supposed to go, oh yeah, he's a schmuck.
Yeah.
How do I know you're not one?
Right. What are you doing throwing mud?
Yeah, he's without sin. What does it say? He hadn't missed the mark. Throw the first stone.
Yeah. They don't run on issues. There's nobody running on an issue. They're running on personality, what they think, what they've got on the guy. If he's done this, and if they can find out about it, they can smear him with it. That's what they run with.
And I think it's funny. And before I get to this next one, because this has to do with these things, folks, we're talking about, we're just bringing up topics to make you think about what's going on. People go, well, my gosh, don't you trust anybody? Yeah, I do, actually. Yes, I do. You know who I trust? I trust him. That's who I trust. But first and foremost, I trust the Lord Jesus. Oh, there you go. That crazy religious guy. I'm not religious, for one. You can take your religion somewhere else. I've seen what religion does, and all it does is do the same thing. Religion is the binding of people to the political and economic situations of nations. That's all it is. That's all it does. You have politics, you have economics, and you have socio-religious. Those are the three things that bind any nation. And it has nothing to do with truth. Nothing. When you put these things into context and you understand that the wealth, the driving force behind ideological context, if the language isn't right, how do they bind you to that to make you do it? For instance, I'm 55. You have Social Security, right? Mm-hmm. They sold us this bill of goods a while back, right? Mm-hmm. This is from The Hill. Now, The Hill is not a conservative. It's more of I would say a
Middle of the
liberal.
road?
No, they're more liberal.
Liberal?
But, Social Security reserves estimated to be depleted earlier than previously expected. They put these things out here. Why? Why is this article coming out, for one? And this is what they say. The Social Security Trust Fund for retirement and survivors benefits is estimated to have its reserves depleted in 2033, 1 year earlier than previously projected, according to the trustees released Tuesday. I'm going to ask somebody something. If this is a trust and your name is on this trust, how come you don't have access to see what's going on? I wonder where this is. I want to find out. Because how are we, I don't know, we're going to be now $32 trillion in debt, and we're saying we still have some trust fund reserves? Who believes these people?
Well, they pillaged it anyway. It was a slush fund for the politicians. They pillaged it. We know they did. And they spent it every direction they could spend it. Now they're telling us that what we paid in is not there anymore, or not going to be there.
2057, 2034. Is this supposed to make people feel better or something? I don't know.
And they try to make it sound like that it's a benevolent thing on their part. No, it isn't. I paid for it. It was my money. They took it out of my check all the time.
I want to make one thing very, very, very clear here, folks. And if you don't know this, and if you don't understand it, you need to. The U.S., the Chinese, whatever government exists on the planet does not and do not and have never created jobs or created a way to earn money.
No.
We'll put it that way.
No, they don't.
That's not what they're there for. Never have been. I always am amused at the context in which people say, oh, the government created 80 million jobs. Well, who's paying them? Because you guys don't. Tax people. So no wonder we're raising taxes. Because they got to pay those people. Because they don't. If they've got a job, how do they get paid? Because the government does not have any gainful situations where they make money. Everything is based off taxes. Do we not understand these things? And this is what you talk about, who's telling the truth. When are we going to wake up and understand that any government job is paid by me? I'm the boss.
Yep.
The president, he's paid by the people of the United States.
But he said he wasn't. I saw him say that to a reporter. A reporter said, the guy stood up and said, "You work for us."
That's right.
And he said, "No, I don't. I don't work for you." Well, I believe it. I mean, that's what he thinks. He really don't believe he works for us.
No. How in the world?
Now, he'll stand there and say that, and we go, okay. Why don't we understand what he just said?
How do all these presidents? I'm reminded of we always talk about. It was funny because we've discussed this. Dad and I have discussed this because you look through some of the history of how much money did. Nobody says anything that the president of Afghanistan, he broke and cut with about $146 million.
In a country that's supposed to be poor.
Oh, man. It doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, hey, where'd he get that money? Oh, that's right. The United States.
Yeah.
Did he earn that? I mean, what? We start to see all kinds of elected officials. our elected officials, especially at the top, those that have been around for a long time. I think Joe finally, he said, I've hung around long enough. I need my cut. I don't know how people buy $12 million homes in Martha's Vineyard. I don't know how they build extra ranches and whatnot. You know, it's funny, though. The Bush family was wealthy independently. Mm-hmm. They had oil money. Some of these families are wealthy, period, that way. There's others that are not. Mr. Obama was not a wealthy man.
No.
But how do you buy a $12 million home? Oh, well, you know, book sales and all that. I don't think his books are that popular.
No, they're not.
I mean, the salary of the United States, sitting United States president is $250,000 a year. I mean, even 8 years, that's only $2 million. Right? Is my math wrong?
I don't think so.
Less taxes. So, you know, I mean, that's a good chunk of change.
But it won't probably buy a $12 million home and others.
But depending upon what your income is afterwards, I think about these things. Do people, do we look at the reality of things around us at all? And look at what man is doing, what people are doing, what nations are doing. Do we put any context on anything, Dad?
And then Michelle was taking $4 million vacations, taking an entourage with her to Europe and so forth. And who paid for that?
Now, I'm going to go to the other side and see, here's where the other side, you know, people say, yeah, those dirty Democrats, they just steal everything. Richard Nixon, man, that guy was a schmuck. You talk about power hungry, wealth hungry, all of it. Same thing. They did. He resigned or he would have been impeached.
Yep.
I always think it's so funny. You know, we talk about Ronald Reagan so much at the top of the heap when it comes to conservative presidents and stuff. You know, good Christian. He's such a great Christian man. And his wife is having the astrologer come in to try and foresee the future.
Yep.
Nancy's got the astrologer coming to the White House. I'm constantly flabbergasted at what we think and what we believe.
Well, that kind of goes along with what just happened at Harvard.
Yes, yeah. We got
the Harvard Theological Seminary, one of the most respected in the country and has been for ages, just hired an atheist to be the chaplain of the school. He's an atheist. He don't even believe in God, and he's the chaplain.
That's right. This was in the Christian Post yesterday. Dad and I saw this, and we didn't bring it up yesterday. I'm going to see if I can find it. It's from Michael Brown. He's been with them for a while. Here it is. Michael Brown. When Harvard hired an atheist to be the chief university chaplain.
I mean, you know.
This is real, folks. Harvard was founded as Harvard College in 1636. Its stated purpose was to train a literate clergy. Among its mottos were Veritas Christos et Ecclesia, truth for Christ and church, and in Christum Gloriam, to the glory of Christ. Now, Harvard has hired an atheist as its chief chaplain. And no, this is not a poor joke.
That'd be like, you know, hiring the Dalai Lama to be the Pope. Or Ayatollah Khomeini to be the Pope, you know.
We look around at these things and I think people are trying to find something to hold on to within mankind, within our nations, within our governments. Folks, there isn't. There just isn't. And I know that people go, oh, Brian, that's so pessimistic. You're a real glass is half empty kind of guy, aren't you? No, I'm not. I know. I'm looking up. I believe that Jesus Christ is the only answer for mankind. That's there. And with what we see and what's happening around us, I see these things within the biblical narrative. I was saying to Dad, and we'll finish up with this. We're getting a little close on time, and I'll shoot this over to Pop. But we were talking before, and I said, when you look at Israel, and just before they asked for a king, there was all this stuff happening and whatnot, and we don't realize the gravity of this statement. And it says that, and there was no king. That word king there, a king in ancient context, and this what is a standard of rule or standard of measurement, a standard of rule, a ruler. A ruler is just a measuring rod in any capacity. And there was no standard, no rule in Israel, and everybody did what was right in their own eyes.
Yep. It was the time of the judges.
Yeah.
And why judges? Yeah, that's the first question you have to ask. Why judges? If it was okay for every man to do everything that he thought was right, then why judges? Well, the judges were there because of that, and because there was no single standard in Israel at that time. There was no one person standing.
Well, there
up.
was. They just didn't want to recognize him.
Yeah, but they didn't recognize him. And Eli, even, he was the one that taught Samuel. But Eli let his sons just run wild and do what they wanted to do and so forth. So there wasn't anybody holding the standard, let's put it that way. There wasn't anybody that was even like I say, the prophets, some of them. And so then Samuel comes along, and Samuel is a voice for the Lord, and he does set the standard again. And what did the people do? Same old. And then they finally said, well, give us a king, and then that'll fix it.
Yeah, because we got to have somebody that we can look to that says this is what's real.
Yeah, so we can be like all the other nations. Well, all the other nations were a mess. So what do you want to be like them? And they asked for the king. They said, and Jehovah told them, said, well, Samuel, they haven't rejected you. They rejected me. In other words, give us a king and then we can have this standard. Well, what are we saying today? We're saying the same thing. Give us this government and that'll be our standard. Give us this and that'll be our standard. Give us this man and that'll be our standard. No, it won't. No more than the kings were.
And we reject the true standard, which was what Dad said there. Samuel's upset.
Yes, he is.
How can they do this Samuel, what are you upset for? They didn't reject you. They rejected me. And we still see the same thing happen. We continue to reject the truth that we were created in the image and likeness of Jehovah. And the only justification for our existence is to come to that knowledge.
He's the standard. Jesus is the standard.
He sits at the right hand, and he come to show us the way, the truth, and the life. If you think there is somebody in these governments that's trying to do that for you and whatnot, you're sadly mistaken. I know what's going on. We all need to pay attention. There's one standard, and it is not among men in this world. There's one man, the Christ. His name is Jesus. And he sits at the right hand to make intercession on our behalf. And he shows us the way to the Father.
Yep.
Folks, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy tonight if you got nothing better to do. We will be streaming Bible Study Live. We're going to be talking about the person of Jesus. We're going to continue that study. If you want to catch up, you can go to the Faith Loop channel on YouTube. The study is there. I do once a month, and you can go check this out. We're looking at the person of Jesus, who he is, understanding the truth of this. So it's not what you've heard before. So check it out. Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and always remember to give love
and give life
and give Jesus.
Amen.